Hey everyone, it's your girl Desiree. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Using a new microphone that I bought. It's a more professional microphone. And yeah, I'm hoping that it's loud enough. Um, Let me see if I can just check just to be sure because I don't want to be talking and then it's not loud enough. So let me see. Okay, let me check here. Hello. Okay, it sounds like it's loud enough. Okay. Yeah, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about something really quickly. I don't have my camera on. I was actually trying out my webcam, and for some reason it's not working right. I'm gonna have to try it out later on. If it's not working right, I'm gonna have to take it back and see if I can get a new one. I think I have warranty on it, but I just wanted to come on and talk about something really quickly. Basically, can I really post what I want to post on social media? And I think this is a really good topic because there's been a lot of stuff going on, especially in particular with women posting content online and a lot of consequences coming from that. Now, what I will say is that if you're an adult, you can do whatever you want to do. We all have free will. Even children have free will, right? Babies even have free will. So we all have free will. But I think what some people don't understand is that there are consequences to everything that we do, especially when it comes to social media. Sometimes I think about when I was younger and how I used to post videos on YouTube and acting out to different songs and you know what I mean? Like it was a little more free back then. Um there wasn't as many people on social media as it is now. Now I feel like social media is not as forgiving. It's a lot more congested. People are a lot more likely to save things that you put on social media. A lot more harder to get stuff off of the internet. So I feel like now people have to be even more careful with the stuff that they post online. Thankfully, I never posted anything extreme on social media when I was younger. Um, but I know that it's becoming more and more acceptable to post things that are very risque or very it's not even always when it comes to like risque stuff. It could even just be like talking about certain views that you have, giving your opinions on certain controversial topics, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, when it comes to um, just different rights that people have. We just have to be aware that you can post what you want, but at the same time, you have to just know that people are going to perceive things a certain way based on how you present yourself, especially when people don't really know you like that. When people have been following you on social media for a certain amount of time, years, they tend to know what you've been through. They've seen your journey, they've seen how you progress. So they may not always agree with certain things that you post, but they kind of have an understanding of why you're talking the way that you're talking, why you're presenting yourself in that type of way. But when people are seeing you for the first time, or maybe they haven't known you online for a certain amount of time, it can be a lot different. And because, like I mentioned, there's a lot more people on social media now, a lot more people have access to your content, a lot more eyes are looking. Even though people may not subscribe to your YouTube channel, they may not press like on it. Somebody may not follow you on Instagram or follow you on TikTok, whatever. But that doesn't mean that they're still not looking, right? So you really don't know. Like I have content on TikTok where I may have like a video that has 700 and something views, but only like a few likes, or maybe it has a good amount of likes depending on the video. But that's a lot of eyes. That's almost 1,000 people that looked at that video, and I don't know how many of the people actually liked it or didn't like it, right? Because not everybody's gonna engage with the content. Because there's times when I like content and I may not press like on it for whatever reason, or maybe I forget. So I think that it's just important to just think about that type of stuff, especially for younger people, especially younger women in particular, but even young men, but especially young women, because I can only really truly speak to women from a woman's perspective. But I sometimes, you feel like, well, I want to express, myself. I want to show my body. I want to show my beauty. I want to show my curves. I want to show this and that. But just know that the way that you present yourself plays a major impact on the opportunities that you may have later on as you get older. Sometimes the things that we do when we're like 19 and 20, when we're 32, 34, 35, we may not have those same views about life. And like I said, because a lot more people have access to stuff now, and because a lot more people can save things and they can see things much more quickly, you just really don't know where that content can end up. People are becoming viral overnight more now than ever than before. Before it was like, yeah, of course you can go viral. But now it's like it's happening to so many everyday people who, "Oh, I'm gonna decide I'm gonna post something about my hair." And okay, wow, a lot of people liked it. I've heard people say I posted a video about just my views on motherhood or something, and I woke up the next day and my phone is going off crazy and it has like over 100,000 views and like 1,000 likes. And I'm like, what? Like last night it had only a few likes, only a few views. So you can really go viral overnight, or it may not even be overnight. It may be like you post something today and you may only see a little traction, and then some reason somehow the algorithm or whatever happens, and then within a month, out of nowhere, you just start getting all these influx of people. I've had that with reels on Instagram where I post and I get some engagement, but then after like a month or so, I just get all these constant likes and likes and likes and likes and likes. And I'm like, where's all this coming from? But sometimes, Instagram will start to push it out after a certain amount of time for whatever reason. I'm not an expert on the algorithm, and even people who are experts will tell you like the algorithm is kind of tricky, because it always changes, and there's really no way to 100% know why sometimes content picks up out of nowhere. It could just be that it was pushed out there first, and then all of a sudden somebody just, I don't know, like, out of nowhere after a month, like, it just was pushed out more and more people just started, and the more people engaging, the more it being pushed out. So I just feel like we just have to just understand that, like social media is so vast, and there's so many good things that you could do with social media these days. Like you can really become like successful. There are some people who have been able to literally transform their lives, go from being in poverty, being in situations where they didn't really have much of anything, to now making six figures or being even a millionaire. So you can really transform your life these days with social media. But the thing I always try to ask myself too is like, what kind of image do I want to have on social media? Of course, I cannot control how people view me on social media. There have been times when I've had people say the most nastiest things to me on social media. People that I even knew personally that I thought were friends or whatever the case might be. So I cannot control how I'm going to be treated on social media. That is really just that's the world that we live in. But I think that it is good to kind of have an idea of how you want to be presented. What are my morals, values, and principles, and what is it that is important to me? Also, why am I on social media? Like me personally, that changes a lot for me, but I think for me, it's like I enjoy expressing myself and my views. I enjoy running into other people who think like me because the way that I think is not always as common. So I enjoy being able to find my tribe and like, wow, these people are just as passionate about these things like I am. I enjoy showing journeys. So as y'all see my hair journey on here. I also have shown like my journey of growth of where I've come since I was like 16, 17 up until now. Um yeah, so I just like to show journeys. I like to inspire people. I like to show people like look at where I was then, look at where I'm at now. And it also interesting for me to look back as well and say, wow, like I really have grown. Because sometimes when I think about myself and where I am at my age, I get discouraged because I had the views of what I wanted to be like at a certain age. Um, but now, you know, that I look back, it's like, okay, it's helpful to look back and say, okay, now I kind of have, sorry, I kind of saw a message, got a little distracted, but yeah, it's helpful sometimes to look back and say, wow, I have grown. I have made progress. So I think social media can be great for you to see the progress that you've made. If you're trying to be an entrepreneur, like for example, on YouTube, You can look back at your old content, and sometimes it can be a little cringy because like, wow, I used to talk like that, or why did I look like that? But it's interesting to see the growth. It's interesting to see, oh, okay, I'm a lot more confident in myself than I was then, or look at how my hair was then, look at how it is now, look at how I look then and how I look now. And you may be like, wow, I actually look kind of similar, and that was 10 years ago. Wow, like I'm aging pretty well, like whatever it is. I don't know. Everybody has their own things that they look for as they're progressing. But the thing is, like, that can be helpful. And also, if you're trying to make money, you can see how you have grown in that type of way. Oh, when I first started YouTube and I first started being monetized, well, that's kind of like an oxymoron for most people because most people are not monetized when they start. But yeah, when you started being monetized and then you see yourself 5 years later, it's like, wow, like I'm not monetized. But I'm just using this as an example based on things that I've heard other people say. I remember when I was only making this, now I'm making this. Now I was able to literally quit my job and this is my full-time profession. This is my full-time, some people even consider it a career because now this is how they make their living and they enjoy it. They're passionate about it and they're able to go on and do some amazing other successful things beyond YouTube because of the exposure um and the quality that they have with the content that they're putting out. So it can be great. It can be great to do social media. Um there's so many different, some people, they're able to really have like, they pursue different causes. Like they're very passionate about animals. They're very passionate about children. They're very passionate about DV. They're very passionate about um, just a lot of different things. And they go hard with doing work that can help to uh, uplift and maybe even raise money and just a lot of different things they can do for those type of causes. Um, Some people are literally out there saving lives. Some people are doctors and attorneys, and they're out there doing stuff on social media as well, and then what's the word? Educating people. So, fitness trainers helping people to change their lives, holistic living and holistic eating. I know I also have that side as well of social media that I do, sharing my veganism journey, my holistic journey of how I changed the things that I've been using in my life. And it's, once again, showing my journey. I like to show journeys of things I noticed. So I think it's good to kind of know what you like to do and understand why you're doing it. And then that can be helpful. Um, and it helps to keep you grounded because like when you get discouraged, like it's easy. It'll be easy for me to get on social media and like show my chest or whatever, like, oh, I got a nice chest or whatever. I can show that. Um, it could be easy for me to do that. And I'm not saying that would necessarily make me a horrible person, but is that the kind of image that I wanna have long term when it comes to the things that I'm doing online? So that's basically my main point about that, just thinking about what do I wanna do? Why do I wanna do it? What's my long-term strategy goal? Even if you don't really know, but just thinking ahead of time, like, do I really want to have the same image 10 years from now? And of course, your image is gonna change because you're gonna change in 10 years. But at least you can look back and say, okay, I may have been a little cringy when I was talking like that, or I didn't really know what I was talking about. I wasn't really able to express my thoughts clearly. I know for me that I struggle with that sometimes as an introvert. Like I may be able to write something out pretty well, but as far as expressing it verbally, I may not always be the best at being able to verbalize and articulate my thoughts and put them into a like coherent, structured, you know, uh, structured way. But I try my best to do as best as I can. I can sometimes ramble and go off a little deep end, but I try my best to express myself the best way I can. And sometimes it can be cringy looking back and say, okay, what was I talking about? But at least you can be proud on what you were saying. At least you can say, I'm not ashamed of what I was saying. And I'm not saying that people should feel ashamed because that's a part of growth too, not being ashamed of the things that you used to do when you were younger, even if it was something that you probably don't want on the internet anymore. But you can also minimize that by just not posting certain things. And then too, another thing too, which I may need to do another video on, We need to also learn how to rebrand. Let me just make sure this thing is secure because I do not want this mic coming down on me. Yeah, but we also need to learn how to rebrand. If you do put yourself out there a certain way and you don't want to be seen that way, take the stuff down and rebrand yourself and learn the art of rebranding because it can be done. But some people, they get stuck in this box and like, oh, I have to constantly keep doing this content because I've always been seen this way and I was always wearing my booty out and I always had it out like that. So I gotta keep doing it. No, if you don't want to keep doing that, you don't have to keep doing it. But there's a way to rebrand yourself and to do it in a way that's not so drastic and so like obvious, but like you can show your journey. That could be a part of your content. But some people just don't understand how to do that, or they feel like they have to, because sometimes people do that to you too. They make you feel like you have to remain in a certain box. You've always done OnlyFans. This is all you're gonna ever be. We don't want to hear your views on things. Stay that way. And then you allow yourself to be stuck in that box. And then this is why, and this feeds more into that image that you're trying to come out of. So there's a way to rebrand yourself. I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, but I've rebranded myself more than once. And I think that it's important to do that because we change as we grow and as we develop throughout life. And it's just important to rebrand. I think everybody should do it. Even if you don't have any content online that you would consider risque or any extremely controversial stuff, you should always aim to try to rebrand. Um, Sometimes people also post things online, like I was saying earlier, that may not necessarily be raunchy or risque, but they may post things that are considered to be take this thing out here. They may post things that may, for example, you're posting so many stuff about your depression, your loss, your grief, your anxiety. There's nothing wrong with sharing those things if you feel like it's inspiring people and keeping people, you know, feeling like they have somebody that understands what they're going through. But sometimes we can overdo it and we can overshare and we can have like 2, 3, 4,000 posts on Instagram of just grief and grief and grief and grief and grief. And sometimes we need to go back and delete like half of that stuff, or maybe at least archive most of it and just keep up the stuff that we feel like is relevant and is necessary, and everything else can go, and just start to rebrand. That doesn't mean that you can't, still keep a few things up, like I said, if it's relevant, if it's helpful, but to keep all those 4,000 or 2,000 or whatever stuff you have up on there, it may not be the best thing to keep on the internet like that. Go back and delete a lot of that stuff and rebrand yourself. Not because you're ashamed or because you feel like you have to hide what you used to post, but because it's a way to start afresh. You don't have to keep up content just because it's up there. And you don't want content up there that's basically like kind of anti or against what you are trying to stand on now. And then now it's kind of almost like confusing because like, wait a minute, now she's talking about this, but she has this concept of up here of something completely different. So you have to think about stuff like that as well. But I'm gonna stop here because I've been kind of rambling and there's not really anybody in the chat. I know a few people have popped in here listening and then they pop back out. I don't really know. Can't always tell with the views on here. But yeah, I just basically wanted to talk about that. Hopefully this was helpful because I can go on and on and on about topics like this. Um, because it is important. It is important for us to think about how we are presenting ourselves on the internet. Can I really post what I want to post? Yeah, you can. And, it's my body, it's my mouth, it's my this, it's my that. I can post what I want to post. I'm an adult. But just know that there are consequences to what I post. And another thing is if I'm going to post something, I need to make sure that I can stand on what it is that I say and what it is that I show. Because somebody says, "Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And I'm so insecure and so triggered and so angry and so hostile, maybe I shouldn't be posting that. Maybe I'm not as secure within myself about that, what I'm putting out to the world. So I need to make sure that what I'm saying and what I'm presenting of myself is actually who I am, and it's something I can stand on, because people are going to have an opinion. When people say mind your business, I mean, how can people mind their business when you're putting it out there? So people may have an opinion, which they're entitled to have their opinion as long as they're respectful. People are going to have their opinion, or they may even ask you questions. And you have to be able to stand and say, well, I am doing this because, and you don't have to give people an explanation, but if you have an audience of people that you actually engage with, it will make sense to talk to them, right? So that's what social media is called, social media for a reason, right? So we are engaging with people, being social. I'm talking about people who are genuinely wanting to know and genuinely giving their opinion, not because they're not trying to be petty or anything. They're just giving an opinion. I should be able to say, this is why I'm doing it. This is what I meant. This is what I said. I shouldn't feel so triggered and so angry. Now, if the person's being rude and being very kind of hostile, kind of condescending, that's one thing. But I should be able to stand on what it is that I put out there without feeling like, oh, why are people, coming at me, or why is da, da, da. It's like, well, if you said what you said, you said what you said. You know what I mean? Now, if you said something that was completely just downright disrespectful to most people, and you really care about your audience, you may want to clarify or may even want to apologize depending on what you said. But if it's something that you said that was not disrespectful, you're just giving your opinion, or you're just showing your body or whatever it is you're doing, and you feel confident in that, well, then stand on that. I'm not telling you whether or not you should do that, because really, like I said, we all have free will. I just want to say this because a lot of times when people are young, they don't always think that way. They're like, oh, well, I'm grown. I can post whatever I want to post. It's my body. It's my mouth. It's my this. It's my that. And then when the consequences come, then they go cry. And sometimes they are literally crying on the internet. Why did this happen to me? Why did that happen to me? But there are consequences to the things that we say and things that we do. Do I believe that people should bully people and call them names and ostracize them because they post certain things? No, I don't believe that. But I do believe that if you're going to put something out there, people are going to give their opinion. Sometimes they may, sometimes they may not. And people are going to sometimes, like I said, genuinely ask you questions and want to know based on something that you may be saying or something that you may be doing. And that's something that I have to be able to stand on if I'm put it out there. You know what I mean? If I put out there, me and my boyfriend or husband or whatever it is, oh, how long have y'all been together? Oh, mind your business. That makes no sense. You put the relationship out there. Oh, we've been together for this amount of time. Oh, okay. Are y'all able to share anything about relationships and anything about that? And if we already starting to share things about relationships, people are gonna ask questions. Well, how did y'all meet? How did y'all get over stuff in your relationship? Because you put it out there, you start talking about relationship content, you start talking about relationship challenges. So you can't put stuff out there, and then when people start asking questions or they genuinely curious, then you get offended or you get upset. I understand we're human, but we have to also be willing to stand on, like I said, what is that we post. And that's something that I'm working on too with myself, not even just with social media, but just in general. If I said something, that's what I said. I don't have to delete it. I don't have to backtrack. I said what I said. Now, if I've offended somebody and they made that aware to me, then I can apologize and say, I apologize. I didn't mean to offend you. But even then, I should be able to still stand it and say, this is what I said. I didn't mean anything against you, but I still stand on what I said because this is what I believe. Now, if it's something that I may need to work on or change when it comes to those beliefs, I will do that. But I still need to stand on what it is that I said. And that's something that I need to work on even more, because sometimes people will try to make you feel like you need to backtrack what you said or backtrack what you did. But the thing is, if you did it, you did it. If you said it, you said it. Now I can apologize, like I said, and I can move forward and work on that. But what was said was already said. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And that's why we also have to be careful what we say and how we say things and what we put out there, because once it's done, it can't be taken back. But sometimes it ain't necessarily anything bad that we said, but sometimes because people are offended by things that we say because it's something controversial and they don't like that, they get very hostile. So that's another reason why it's important to stand what you say, because if people will start to become hostile towards you because they don't like your views, it can make you want to cower and get into a corner or start to, be quiet, when that's not really what you should do. Like I said, if I've offended you, I can apologize, but I can still stand on what I said because that's the beliefs that I have. You know what I mean? And sometimes people will start to feel like they have to apologize 1,000 times. They got to start taking it down. Now, if it's that offensive to that point, I get it. But I'm talking about when it's not offensive like that, but somebody's just triggered because they just don't stick with those type of views. Like they just have a different way of looking at things. Then I don't have to change myself to fit this. Oh, now people are angry, so let me stop talking about the truth of what's really going on in this world, what they really putting in the food or whatever the case. No, if there's something that they're putting in the food, and I need to let people know that so that they can be aware of that and work on what they're eating because that's for their health. I'm gonna say it, and if you don't like it, that's not my problem. Now, if I said it in a way that was offensive, I apologize, but I'm still going to stand on what I said because this is still the truth, and people still need to know that. So that's why I say it's important to know why you're on the internet, what you're saying, stand in that. And if you're not able to, why am I putting stuff on the internet? Why am I saying things that I don't really feel confident or confident in? Am I presenting myself in a way that's not really truly who I am? Sometimes we say and do things because we want attention that we didn't get growing up or whatever the case might be, or based on certain type of traumas that we've been through. So we're not really truly being our full selves. We're being this fragmented self or this thing that we've created in order to receive the attention that we didn't receive. But then when the lights are off and everybody's, nobody's around, we feel ashamed about what we're putting out there. Well, then we shouldn't put that out there. And even if you don't feel ashamed, sometimes it's still not best to put stuff out there. But that's another conversation for another day. Because, like I said, this is not really about what to post, what not to post. This was basically just to talk about, can I really post what I want to post? And the answer is yeah. It's your social media. Yeah. But just know there's consequences to that. And I hope that those who are young, like teenagers, I don't even know if I have teenagers that listen to my stuff, but young adults, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, even, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but always noise in New York City. But even when it comes to those who are older, we can all improve by what we post, what we say. And I think that that's just something that I have to work on myself. And that's something that I hope others will continue to work on and consider as well. It's a lot of pressure these days, especially for women. Sometimes you could be talking and you don't feel like you're really getting that much traction. Oh, if I show my chi-chis, people will start to look at me. Yeah, like I said, like I could do that. I got some nice chest. I could do that. But what what is it gonna is that the kind of image that I want, and how is that gonna convey itself long term? You know what I mean? So it could be a lot of pressure with wanting to put yourself out there a certain way because that's what's gonna get the views. That may even get you some opportunities. But in the long run, how will it affect my brand? In the long run, how will it affect the type of opportunities that I want going forward? And will this be something that I can later on defend and say, well, that's where I was at that time, and I stand in that and I'm confident in that? Okay. You know what I mean? So people are losing their jobs, people are losing brand deals, people are losing out on opportunities with all types of things. And people say, oh, they don't care, but then I see people crying, I see people upset. So clearly it does affect people. I mean, who wants to lose their job? Especially in this day and age, who wants to lose a brand deal, especially if it was like thousands of dollars that you could have made and it could have pushed you into another realm of more opportunities? Who wants to lose out on maybe a potential friend that could have been a great person or a potential romantic partner? People say they don't care, like I said, but clearly it affects people because they talk about it. So I'm not saying don't be who you are. I'd rather people be who they are than be something else. But just know that you can't post stuff and then be like, well, I don't understand why this person doesn't want to give me an opportunity because of this. Well, people have a right to say, I don't want to give you an opportunity because of the way that I see you present yourself online. They have a right to do that because maybe what you presenting online is doesn't line up with the morals and values and principles that they have for their brand, for that position that you want to go for that person that you may want to date. It is what it is. And it may hurt, but that's just the reality of it. I remember when I was younger, maybe 20 years old or whatever, and I used to post like, a lot of cleavage. It was never like I had like a thong on or anything like that. I didn't really have the body for that anyway. Maybe it was for the best, right? But I remember there was somebody I wanted to have on my radio show, and she told me that she wasn't interested because she saw how I presented myself online. I think it wasn't just about that. It was also like the way I was talking. I think I kind of maybe sounded like I wasn't articulating myself well, whatever the case might be. And it wasn't that I wasn't educated because I know how to speak. I know how to use vocabulary. I may not be the best at it, but I know how to write. You know what I mean? Even at that age. So it wasn't that I wasn't articulate, but it was like, I was really much into the yo, I be like, and talking like that. Especially, from the hood. I'm from the hood. Um, but sometimes people may say, oh, that's kind of unprofessional. I don't really want to do business with that type of person, even though it technically wasn't business because there was no money involved, but it's still kind of like business, right? So I kind of got triggered by that. But she was telling me as time went on, she was like, I'm not trying to come against you. She said, I even lost on an opportunity because of the way that I had presented myself online. So I'm not coming against you. But the thing is, like, you have to understand that if you put something out there, there's going to be people who may not want to align with that. And also, you have to be able to stand on what you put out there. You can't put stuff out there. And then when somebody says, I don't want to be associated with that because of how you present yourself, you get triggered and you take it so personal. But the thing is, if you're getting that triggered and you're taking it that personal, then maybe there's something deeper going on here. So make sure that what you're putting out there is really who you are and really who you want to be. And if it's not, and you're just doing it for attention, like I mentioned, then maybe you need to reevaluate what you're putting on the internet. Because for one, if you're not being genuine, that's not helpful to you. And two, there's consequences for what you put out there. So why put yourself out there a certain way and then now you're gonna deal with consequences for something that ain't really you ain't really like that. So for example, you doing OnlyFans because you need the money and economy is hard. I get it. Like people got it hard these days. But you're doing it, you're not really into stuff like that. You're not into putting out that type of content, but you're doing it because you want the money, you want the fast money. But now you have this image, y'all. I'm telling you, this noise, you can't make this stuff up, right? But now you put that content out there and it's out there. And now you're known for that type of content, but that's not really what you want to do. You was like a professional, maybe you was working like in a certain type of field, it didn't work out, now you're doing OnlyFans. But the thing is, now that can lead to you having some consequences going forward because of that content that you put out. So now you got to suffer with consequences of something that you put out there, and that's not even really what you truly wanted to do. You just did it because you needed the fast money. So I get it, because I've never been in a situation where I've been like practically on the streets and I had like a child to feed. So I'm not looking down on people who do that because I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation. I'm just saying, just think about that stuff long term because there's consequences to that, and it would be a shame to put yourself out there in a certain way on OnlyFans just for you to lose out on opportunities in the future when that wasn't even what you really wanted to do with your life. You just did it because it was like, I need to get a quick buck. I know that I got a nice body. Let me put my body out there on OnlyFans. Yeah, you made some good money, hopefully, right? If you did all that. But now you have this perpetual image now. Because, like I said earlier, you don't know who could be saving your stuff. Nowadays, people could screenshot things, they could save things could be stuck on the internet forever. You can go viral without wanting to go viral. Sometimes going viral for things you don't want to be viral for, right? And now it's all over the place. So that's just the unfortunate thing. And it's kind of like that thing that I try to remember. It's like we have to stand on something. If we don't stand for something, we fall for anything. We have to know what we stand for, and we have to stand on that. And that's hard, because like I said, I know it's hard. It's not easy sometimes to stick with something and stand on that no matter what, especially when times get hard. But when we can be very serious about this is who I am, this is my morals and values and my principles, this is what I stand on. When times get hard, I can still stand on that. I may have to go, a little longer without a meal. I may have to go a little longer without the attention that I would like to have. I mean, who doesn't want to have attention sometimes or validation? We all are human. I may have to go a little longer, for whatever I'm doing to really hit. But I know that once it hits, it's based on me truly standing on who I am and the goals and aspirations that I have for myself. Not this quick thing that I did, that I really didn't want to do, but I did it because I knew that it was going to make me some quick money or some quick success or quick attention or whatever the case might be. Um, like I said, they do anything for clout. Like we have to be careful that we're not just doing anything for clout or even doing anything for money or doing anything for attention. And it don't make you a bad person because you want attention, because you want money, because you want clout, because you want no, like who doesn't want more money? Like most people do. Most people not only want more money, they need more money. Who doesn't want attention and validation sometimes? This is normal. But sometimes we can get so caught up, especially when we're in a desperate place and we can just go to extremes. And the internet is a perfect place for that because you can make money off of attention. You can make money off of clout. You can make money and you can make a whole living off of people giving you attention and validation. So it ain't like just people just going on here and they just doing this because it's like, oh, I'm just getting attention. Okay, yeah, that's true. But they could also be making money. Some people are making bank off of the attention and clout that they're getting on the internet. So I get it. So that's why I say, like, I don't look down on people. You know what really helped me too? Watching like soft white underbelly and different like pages like that. That really helped me to really see people from a different light because I don't really know people sometimes who are in those type of situations personally. Like I don't really know people who have those type of lifestyles too much. Maybe some of them I may have been around, like people from the streets, stuff like that. But for the most part, like especially when it comes to the women, like I just never really been around a lot of those women that are interviewed on there. So it really gives you a different perspective on why sometimes people take certain routes in life. And it really humbles you and helps you to realize that people are different and people have different backgrounds and people will go through different paths in life. So it's not for me to be judgmental and to look down on somebody. I may not agree with the lifestyle they have and I don't have to, but I don't have to look down on them either. But I think that if we're able to encourage people to take different routes and different avenues early on and they don't have to take those type of routes, that'd be great. Now, if they still choose to take that route and that's what they genuinely want to do, that's their choice. But some people are taking these routes because they don't feel like they have any other choice. And that's the sad part. Because now you're going down a route, like I said earlier, that can completely change the trajectory of your life and completely change the or at least minimize the opportunity that you have going forward all for something that you did because you feel like you didn't have another choice. And maybe in that time you didn't have any other options. So I just hope that there will be more and more options that will be open up to people like that. And I just hope that we can just spread more awareness for those type of people to encourage, especially young people who do have a choice, not to do those type of things if they can minimize that because sometimes we go down paths that are unnecessary, cause ourselves more stress in the end um when it comes to that, you know? So just think about those things before you go down that path. That's just my advice to especially young people because the world is crazy. And two, another thing is like safety. You know, you don't know who's seeing that stuff on the internet, especially like if it's something that's raunchy. Some people, yeah, they'll pay money, but then you have to ask yourself what kind of person is going to pay. Like for example, some people they'll post pictures of their feet, and somebody will pay thousands of dollars just for who would pay? I'm not saying that the people who pay are horrible people, but you just never know who you're running into. So we have to be very careful with those things as well, because everything comes with a price, and you just want to make sure that you're not cashing in more than you can handle, basically. Um, you know how they say you made your bed, now you gotta lay in it. So sometimes it's like we make certain beds that we are not able to lay in. We can't handle it. We bought off more than we can chew, right? Um, our eyes can sometimes be bigger than our stomach. So we think we're hungry for something, but really it's our eyes that are like seeing things more than what it is. And then when we get it, it's like, whoa. Or actually our eyes might not even be seeing more. Our eyes might actually be thinking that that's what we want when our stomach is like, whoa, this is too much. So, yeah, but that's it. That's all I'm gonna have to say because I'm rambling. So, y'all take care and let me know if y'all want me to talk more about like stuff online about like the image that you present online. I've been doing social media, like I said, since I was like 16. So I've been on social media for many, many years. I'm not an expert, but I am somebody who has seen social media change. I've done the live streaming, I've done the Instagram, I've done the Twitter, I've done the MySpace, I've done the Instagram. Well, I'm still on Instagram. I've done the podcasting. There's just so many different things that I've done on social media. So I think that um I don't mind giving my take on certain things when it comes to rebranding. Now, when it comes to like business and monetization, I can send you people that you can look into because I'm not expert on that. And I don't really, like I said, I have not been monetized, so I can't really speak on that. But if I become monetized, well, I shouldn't say if, I should say when, right? Um, I don't mind sharing about that if that's something that makes sense for the content. But I would rather direct y'all to people that can do a lot better in presenting and explaining that stuff, and they have a lot more content geared towards helping people with those type of things when it comes to social media and all that type of stuff. So y'all take care, and I'm gonna go now. I may keep this up, I may not, but we'll see how many people listen back to it. Sorry it's so long, but I just kind of went on a little impromptu rant about that. So yeah, take care. Bye. Oh, yeah, and hope y'all have a good weekend. Bye.